HMIS privacy. When a participant shares their information, the information they share is precious. Oftentimes, persons experiencing homelessness feel like all they have control over is their own information, and the possessions they have and hold dear is information about themselves. That information is also very personal. We ask questions about their identity, ask questions about their income, their social security, and about their situation. And therefore, all information that is shared is private and has to always remain private.
Key terms in HMIS privacy. Personally identifying information, or PII. That is, any information that identifies, makes able to identify, or if linked with other information, can identify who a client is. For example, name, date of birth, social security number, when combined, may identify who a person is. This is also referred to as Private Protected Information, or PPI. Covered Homeless Organizations, or CHO. That is, any organization and their employees, volunteers, contractors that record, processes, and utilizes client PII. This is commonly referred to as HMIS agency and HMIS user.
What is client data privacy? It is clients' control over sharing information concerning themselves. The content, or what, such as physical, including medical, behavioral, such as their mental health, and intellectual academic records, or the circumstances of their settings. It is the extent that they share it. How much do they share about their medical records, and how long of that record do they share? The sharing also involves the time and timing. Do they share all of it, or is it in phased amounts, or do they have to repeat themselves? Again, the place and circumstances of where they share it and to who they share it with. Control over the content, extent, time, place, and situation for self-sharing requires specific privacy directives for that interaction and also for sharing that information with others. Whom does privacy apply? Simply, any entity that enters client data, processes client data, or receives referrals from client data through PA-HMIS. HMIS privacy applies therefore to all CHOs and their programs. Therefore, the balance of state COC agencies of Eastern PA, or COC PA 509, and Western PA, COC PA 601, and all other COCs and agencies that use PA-HMIS. The PA-HMIS privacy notice contains the privacy directives required by HUD data standards and PA's HMIS privacy policy and procedures. The privacy notice must be viewable and available to all participants. There are 6 factors related to HMIS privacy: the collection of the data, the quality of the data, the purpose and use limitation, openness, access and correction, and accountability. Data collection. Agencies may only collect PPI when appropriate to its purpose or required by regulation, if it's collected voluntarily, fairly, and by lawful means. Agencies must post a sign at each intake desk or location which explains reasons for collecting this information. That is the HMIS privacy notice. Data quality. PPI must be accurate, complete, and consistent. Responses should not be assumed by staff but come from the client. Openness. The policy and practice of how PPI is processed must be stated in the privacy notice. Privacy notice must state that PPI policies and practice may be amended at any time, and that amendments may affect information obtained by the agency before date of implementation. Privacy notice should be made available to any individual upon request. Access and correction. An HMIS participant should be allowed to inspect and have a copy of any PII concerning themselves, including access to electronic data or hard copies. Agencies must offer to explain any information on the individual that they may not understand. Agencies must consider any requests by the HMIS participant for correction of inaccurate or incomplete PII pertaining to that individual. Accountability. Agencies must establish a procedure for accepting and considering questions or complaints concerning its privacy policies and practices. Agencies must require each member of its employees, volunteers, affiliates, contractors, and associates to sign a confidential agreement of receiving and compliance with the Notice of Privacy and Practices. A privacy notice that explains the reason, policy, and practices for data collection must be displayed at each intake station or comparable location. A copy of the privacy notice must be given to anyone who requests it.